Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and the fact that so far it has held the 20-day moving average. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. The reason why this is important is because bouncing off the 20-day will give altcoins a fighting chance, rather than necessarily have them capitulate even further, which would happen if Bitcoin falls below it. It gives them a fighting chance. Now, a lot of people are already scheduling their Forbes interviews because they feel like this is a definitive hold of the 20-day moving average. And again, I'll have to ask you to cancel. I think we need a little bit more time. We want to see it actually bounce off of this level, not just come down to it, because for all we know, it could still easily just drop below and go down to, say, a lower moving average like the 50-day. You might say, well, why do we look at the 50-day? Well, the main reason is because this is ultimately where we found support last time that Bitcoin had a sizable dump, right? We ultimately found support at the 50-day and then trended higher. So if you're following this and you have a bag of altcoins that you're hoping they perform okay, then I would say to keep a close eye on the 20-day moving average. If Bitcoin starts to go below it and trends down to the 50-day, which would be closer to $40,000, then rest assured that most altcoins will likely bleed in their Bitcoin valuations. And in that scenario, not only will the price of Bitcoin drop and the altcoin valuations will drop, but also another thing is that the dominance will likely go up. So the Bitcoin dominance, if Bitcoin drops to, say, the 50-day moving average or something, the dominance will go up. Now, just because, let's suppose that Bitcoin does hold the 20-day in the short term, and we do something like this. This does not necessarily mean it will ultimately hold it. As we saw just last month, we held it, and then we came back and then broke it. But the reason why holding it in the short term is important, as we said, is because it does give the other cryptocurrencies the chance to run. These types of rebounds, where Bitcoin does not go back into price discovery mode, like it's sort of like a dead cat bounce before trending lower, this is basically altcoin paradise. This for altcoins, if you have a rebounding Bitcoin but not putting in new all-time highs, this is like prime conditions for altcoins. If you remember back to 2017, it was on this sort of dead cat bounce by Bitcoin that took place, or sorry, let's go back to 2017. It was this dead cat bounce by Bitcoin right here going into the first week of January or so. Basically this entire region right here on the upside and the downside that altcoins rallied. It wasn't until around January 13th or 14th when a lot of altcoins really started to move back down, and that was once Bitcoin broke below these prior levels and started putting in much lower numbers. Okay, so the point here is to say we know that Bitcoin, when it's ultimately bouncing and not yet back in price discovery mode, that's a great time for altcoins to start shining. So holding the 20-day in the short term does not mean we will that does not necessarily mean we'll continue to hold it, but a nice bounce off of it would give altcoins a fighting chance to recover. And then if they do recover and we see a lot of our favorite altcoins bounce back up, they could then put in new highs themselves during that time period. And then if Bitcoin comes back down, then those altcoins will of course bleed, but maybe they'll bleed to a value that's higher than their current value. Okay, so a lot of questions are, a lot of the typical questions that I see is, well, if you think Bitcoin's going to have to correct before Ethereum takes off, shouldn't you wait for a Bitcoin correction first? The problem is that people were saying that, up this entire curve, and during this time, Ethereum was going from like $500 up to over $1,000 before Bitcoin had a correction. And by the time that Bitcoin had a correction, yes, Ethereum corrected a little bit, but it didn't correct that much relative to, say, how far Ethereum had come from October. I mean, this is Bitcoin, but it wasn't a huge correction with respect to how far Ethereum had come since October. So far, we have a nice little bounce off the 20-week in the short term. However, the day just started. There's plenty of time to go. For all we know, we're going to end up breaking it, and we could go back to the downside. However, we'll keep a close eye on this, because if you watch it and we get a nice bounce over the next few days, I would be looking for a lot of altcoins to start recovering and to start moving back up. If you guys like the content and want exclusive content, remember we have the altcoin season sale. You can find a link to that in the description below. You get access to the weekly reports, the weekly premium videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the trading view indicators, and the risk dashboard and more. So check it out. You can lock in the lower rate. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel at the very least. Give the video a thumbs up. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye.